question number 11 in IIT JEE 2006 was from 3D geometry. Question is, a plane passes through point 1 comma minus 2 comma 1 and is perpendicular to two planes 2x minus 2y plus z is equals to 0 and x minus y plus 2z is equals to 4. The distance of the plane from the point 1 comma 2 is. So let's solve it. Let's suppose the plane passing through point 1 comma minus 2 comma 1 is having its normal direction ratio ABC. So we can write down that plane equation passing through this point and having direction ratio ABC of its normal as A into x minus of 1 plus B into y minus of minus 2, so y plus 2 plus C into z minus 1 is equals to 0. Now this plane is perpendicular to these two given planes. It means their normal will be also perpendicular to each other. So we can write down from this plane equation its normal, let's suppose denoted by n vector, can be written as ai cap plus bj cap plus ck cap, right? And similarly, normal of these two planes I am denoting by n1 and n2 vectors. So n1 vector is the normal of this plane, that can be written as 2i cap minus 2j cap plus k cap. And similarly, n2 is the normal of this plane, that we can write down as I cap minus j cap, and this is here plus of 2k cap, right? Now since this plane is perpendicular to this plane also and this plane also, so two planes are perpendicular, so their normal will be also perpendicular. So we can say the normal of this plane, which is n vector, dot product with normal of this plane must be equals to 0 since they are perpendicular, right? So here we are doing this. So what we will be getting here, let's see. So n dot n1 is equals to 0. So from here we will be getting here a into 2, that is 2a, b into minus 2, that is minus 2b, c into 1, that is c, must be equals to 0. Let's suppose that is our equation number 1. And similarly, this normal must be perpendicular to this normal vector, right? Now because this plane is perpendicular to this plane also. So from there also we will be getting n dot n2 must be equals to 0. So that we will get here a into 1, that is a only, and b into minus 1, that is minus b, and c into 2, that is 2c is equals to 0. That is our equation number 2. Now from here, from these two equations, we can easily find out the ratio of ABC. So from 1 and 2, we are going to find out the ratio of ABC. So now we can easily compare A upon, now we will forget this A terms, we will take the product of coefficient of B from first equation to coefficient of C in second equation. So coefficient of B in first equation minus 2 and coefficient of C is 2, so minus 2 into 2 minus 4, and then minus sign. Now coefficient of B from second equation to coefficient of C in first equation product, so B coefficient in second is minus 1 and here plus 1, C coefficient, so minus 1 into plus 1 is minus 1, so minus sign already is there, so minus minus plus of 1. Similarly, B upon, now we will forget the coefficient of B. Now cross product we will take here of coefficient of A from second equation to coefficient of C in first equation. So A coefficient in second is 1 and C coefficient in first is 1, so 1 into 1, 1 only, minus now coefficient of A from first equation and coefficient of C in second equation, that is 2 into 2, 4, so here it is. Similarly, now C upon, now C column we will forget here, C term we will forget here. Now coefficient of A in first equation product with coefficient of B in second equation, so 2 into minus 1, which is minus 2 only, and now minus sign. Now here coefficient of A in second equation with coefficient of B in first equation, so 1 into minus 2, minus 2, so minus minus plus of 2. So from here we can easily say that here A upon minus 3 is equals to B upon minus 3 is equals to C upon 0. So we can say ABC will be in the ratio of 1:1:0, right? So this is the ratio, direction ratio of the required plane. Now from here they are asking the distance of that plane from the point 1, 2, 2. So simply we will write down the plane equation after getting this direction ratio of the normal. So we will put this ABC ratios in this first equation, let's suppose. So we are putting a 1, 1, 0. So we can easily write down A will be 1, B will be 1 and C will be 0. So easily we can write down 1 into x minus 1, x minus 1 only, and B will be 1 here, so 1 into y plus 2 is y plus 2 only, and C is 0, so 0 into z minus 1 is 0 only, so is equals to 0. So from here we are getting the plane equation x plus y plus 1 is equals to 0. This is our required plane denoted by pi symbol. Let's suppose that I am saying here this is our required plane in the given situation. Distance between this point 1, 2, 2 and this plane will be d is equals to, we will put these coordinates on this plane equation in the modulus. So it will be 1 plus 2, x will be 1, y will be 2 plus 1 mod close upon root over x coefficient square which is 1 only, and y coefficient square which is 1 only again. So here the distance between this point and required plane is coming here 4 upon root 2. So this can be also written as 2 root 2. So our answer will be D option. Question number 12 is, let A vector is equals to I cap plus 2j cap plus k cap and B vector is equals to I cap minus j cap plus k cap and C vector is I cap minus j cap minus k cap. A vector in the plane of A and B whose projection on C is 1 by root 3 is. So let's solve it. So any vector, let's suppose that is V, in the plane of A and B we can say vector A plus lambda times vector B, right? Or also we can say lambda times vector A plus mu times vector B, correct? In any approach we can solve it. So I am just applying this way. So according to this we can write down V vector can be written as A vector which is I cap plus 2j cap plus k cap plus lambda times B vector, that is I cap minus j cap plus k cap. Now on simplification way we can write down all the I, j, k component together. So 1 plus lambda I cap and j component 2 minus lambda j cap, and similarly k component 1 plus lambda k cap. This is our V vector, right? Now this V vector projection on C is 1 by root 3, right? So projection of V on C we can write down V dot C upon mod of C vector, that must be equals to 1 by root 3 as per given information in the question. So we can write down V dot C as I component is I coefficient, we can say 1 plus lambda dot product with C I component we are doing here. So 1 plus lambda into 1, so that is 1 plus lambda only, and j coefficient 2 minus lambda, and here j coefficient minus 1, so plus of lambda minus 2 we can write down, and similarly k coefficient 1 plus lambda into minus 1, so minus 1 minus lambda upon mod of C. Mod of C is what? Magnitude of C vector, so that will be root over I coefficient square plus j coefficient square plus k coefficient square, so that will be root 3 only. That must be equals to 1 by root 3 as per given information. So this root 3 is getting cancelled, and from here minus 1 plus 1 is getting cancelled, this minus lambda and plus lambda also we can cancel it, so we are getting lambda minus 2 is equals to 1. So we can say lambda will be equals to 3. lambda is coming equals to 3. So they are asking what is that vector. So this lambda value we can easily put, let's suppose this is our equation number 1. So when we are putting this lambda value in this one, so our required vector v in the plane of a and b we can write down. So v vector will be, on putting lambda 3, so 3 plus 1 4 I cap, and this is 2 minus 3, so minus 1 j cap, and similarly this is 3 plus 1 4 k cap. So that is our required vector. So which option is correct? We can match here. So first option is correct here. Next question is the equation of common tangent to the parabola y is equals to x square and y is equals to minus of x minus 2 whole square is. So it's a multiple choice question, is R is given here. So let's solve it. So here y is equals to x square, this parabola, if you will see y is equals to x square, so this parabola is belonging from the family x square is equals to 4ay. So in this case tangent equation for this family of parabola will be t, will be symbolic term for the tangent. So that equation will be y is equals to mx minus am square, right? And similarly the another parabola is given here, minus of x minus 2 whole square is equals to y. So let's write down y is equals to minus of x minus 2 whole square. So this is belonging from the family x square is equals to minus of 4ay. So in this case you very well know, so its tangent equation will be y is equals to mx plus am square, right? So using these two formula we can write down their tangent equation. So for first one, tangent will be, here a is 1 by 4, by comparison you can see here, so y is equals to mx minus am square. So minus am square, a is 1 by 4, so minus of m square by 4. This is the tangent for first parabola. Similarly tangent for second parabola we can write down, let's suppose this is t1, this is t2. So for the second parabola will be similarly y is equals to m, here x minus 2 plus of am square. So again here a is 1 by 4, so m square by 4 we can write down, right? Now these are the tangent for these two parabolas. Now it is given that the equation of common tangent to the parabola, means let's suppose the tangent to this parabola is this and tangent to this second parabola is this. So let's suppose this is the common tangent. This is common tangent, means both lines will be what? Identical. Both equations will be what? Identical. So in this case we will do comparison, right? We will do comparison of both equations. So easily on simplification, second equation you can observe y is equals to mx minus 2m plus m square by 4 we are getting, right? The second equation simplification. So since these two equations are identical, because it is a common tangent for both parabola, so by comparison we can see y coefficient, x coefficient are same, but the constant terms are not looking same, so it must be equal, right? Then only it will be common tangent. So let's do the equate of these two constant terms. So minus m square by 4 is equals to minus of 2m plus m square by 4. So from here on simplification we can write down then this value on the same side. So it will be m square by 2 minus 2m is equals to 0. So from here we can take m common here. It will be m by 2 minus 2 is equals to 0. So from here we are getting m is equals to 0 and m is equals to 4. On taking LCM we can write down this. So m is having two values, m is equals to 0 and m is equals to 4. So by putting this m value 0 or m value 4 in any one of these two equations, it will be our common tangent for both parabola. So if we are putting m is equals to 0 in this first equation, let's suppose I am putting here. So in this case m is equals to 0, so one tangent we are getting here, y is equals to 0, m will be 0, so this value will be entirely 0 on the right side of the equality. So y is equals to 0 is one of the tangent, and if m will be equals to 4, in this case the tangent equation will be y is equals to m, we are putting 4 in the same first equation, so that will be 4x and yeah, minus of 4 square 16 by 4, so that is minus 4 only. So this is our second equation of tangent. So we can say this further, we can write down as y is equals to 4 times x minus 1. So this is the two common tangents for these two parabolas. So y is equals to 4 times x minus 1 means first option is correct, as well as y is equals to 0, second option is also correct here. Next question is, if fx is equals to min of 1 comma x square comma x cube, then fx is continuous for all x belongs to real number, f dash x greater than 0 for all x greater than 1. Fx is not differentiable but continuous for all x belongs to real. And fourth option is fx is not differentiable for two values of x. So let's solve it. It is also a multiple choice question. So let's plot the graph of this fx function, right? So how to plot the graph? Just observe here. This I am making a Cartesian plane, correct? And in this one, we are just going to plot these all three graphs, means three functions are written here. Suppose y1 is equals to 1, y2 is equals to x square, and y3 is equals to x cube. So just simply plot all three graphs. After then, we have to observe the minimum of that. Okay, so just observe the procedure. So first of all, I am going to plot the graph of y is equals to 1. So let's suppose y is equals to 1 graph will be like this one, because it is a y is equals to 1, it's a constant function, so it's a straight line like this it is coming here. And similarly, y2 is equals to x square is the another function, so its graph I am going to plot. Y2 is equals to x square graph will be parabola like this. Similarly, I am just going to plot the graph of y3 is equals to x cube. y3 is equals to x cube graph will be like this, right? And these all three graphs will be equal at point x is equals to 1, as you can see here, x is equals to 1. So now you can observe, we have to observe among these three graphs min. Min means whichever graph you are finding out lowest, correct? That graph we have to observe for these all four options. So here again you can see these two graphs, y is equals to 1 and y is equals to x square, two functions are equal at point minus 1, right? Now so this is minus 1 here, you can see here, that is minus 1 here. So from here I am just saying here, observe minimum among these three graphs. Minimum is whichever graph is coming below, that we have to observe. So let's see. Our graph before x is equals to minus 1 is lowest is this one. So I am just changing the color of the graph which is lower, that we are only focusing. So just observe the red color. This is the graph which is the lowest before x is equals to minus 1, right? And in between minus 1 to 0 also you can see this blue graph is only the lowest among this green, orange and this blue. So that also we have to observe. So this red color graph basically you have to observe, that is the min of these all three, right? So that's why I am changing the color, so easily it will be visualized. And now in between origin 0 to 1, which graph is lowest? Again our blue graph is the lowest among green, orange and blue. So just observe this again blue graph, so that again I am just coloring it by red, so it will be visualized clear. And now after one, among this blue, orange and green graph, the lowest is green graph, so just green graph now I am coloring by red color. So this is the structure it is coming, means these three functions graph we have to form the graph on the Cartesian plane. Then after min is given, so min graph structure like that will be taking here, means whichever graph lowest will be coming, that is the meaningful graph, that is the meaning of this operator. Here max will be there, so in this case max means above, which will be the greatest graph among all three, that only we have to consider. So in this case we are going to consider this now red colored graph, correct now? So in this red colored graph you can see fx is continuous for all x belongs R. Yes, this graph is continuous everywhere. This red color graph doesn't have any kind of break or gap, correct? Huh? So it is continuous for all x belongs to real. A option is absolutely correct. Now second option is given f dash x greater than 0 for all x greater than 1 in B option. So let's see, when x is greater than 1. So when x is greater than 1, so the graph is this red graph. This red graph is actually earlier this green graph, which is nothing but y is equals to 1. So we can say when x is greater than 1, our function was in this case fx is equals to 1. So now its derivative, first derivative we have to observe here, f dash of x is coming here 0. F dash x is 0 for all x greater than 1. So it is saying B option f dash x is greater than 0, but we are getting equal to 0. Correct? Na? So B option is absolutely wrong here. So B option is wrong. Now let's come for the C option. It is giving here fx is not differentiable but continuous for all x belongs R. So from here if you will see, this is continuous already. First option we are getting here. Not differentiable. Not differentiable means where a function cannot be differentiable. At the point where the function will have any kind of break, gap or corner, on that point function will be non-differentiable. Correct? No? So this function is non-differentiable only at point x equals to 1. Why? Because in this red graph there is no any kind of break gap, means function is continuous, but there exists a corner at point x equals to 1. So corner is existing here, so at this point the function is not differentiable. So C option is also coming correct here, right? And D option is saying fx is not differentiable for two values of x, which is absolutely wrong. Why? Because only one corner is there and there is no any kind of break or gap, so only one point of non-differentiability is coming here. So our C option and A option is correct here. Next question is, a tangent drawn to the curve y is equals to fx at point P, x comma y cuts the x-axis and y-axis at A and D respectively, such that BP ratio AP is equals to 3:1. Given that f of 1 is equals to 1, then which of the following options are correct? So it is a multiple choice question. So let's solve it. Let's suppose y is equals to fx is any curve. So tangent equation on this curve at point P, x comma y can be written capital Y minus small y is equals to dy upon dx into capital X minus small x. Now here capital X and capital Y is any general point on the tangent, and small x small y is the point on the curve at which tangent has been drawn. So figure you can do analysis by figure. Let's suppose these are the coordinate axes, right? Let's suppose this is any curve here, y is equals to fx here. Y is equals to fx, any general function I am writing, its curve equation is written here. Now tangent has been drawn to this curve at point P. So let's suppose this is tangent which has been drawn at point P. So P coordinates are x comma y as given in the question data. So this tangent cuts the x-axis at A and y-axis at B. And now it is given BP ratio AP is equals to 3:1, means P point dividing the line joining AB internally in the ratio 3:1, right? So this is dividing in the ratio 3:1. Now what about A and B? A is, you know, x-axis intercept, so we can find out x-intercept. X-intercept when we are finding out, so capital Y is equals to 0 we have to put here, right? Capital X is equals to small x minus y dx over dy, right? So here what we have done, here y is 0 and then dy by dx in cross multiplication, so minus of y dx over dy, and this minus x is coming on this side, so plus x it is becoming here. So x-intercept means A point coordinate is coming x coordinate this, y coordinate this. So we can write down this as x minus y dx over dy comma 0. This is A point coordinate. Similarly, this line is intersecting y-axis at B, so y-intercept when we are finding out y-intercept in this case, put capital X is equals to 0. So we will get capital X is equals to 0. So we are getting capital Y is equals to minus small y is going on that side, so plus y, and here dy by dx into minus of x, so we can write down minus of x dy over dx, right? So this is y coordinate of B point, so we can write down B point coordinate in order pair 0 comma y minus x dy over dx, right there. So these are the coordinates of A and B. Now it is given that P is the point which is dividing the line joining A and B in the ratio 3:1, right? So P is dividing internally the line joining AB in the ratio 3:1. So we can get X coordinate of P or Y coordinate also of P using internal division formula. So applying internal division formula, we are getting X is equals to 3 times of X coordinate of A point. So 3 times of X coordinate of A point, you know the formula. So 3 times X minus small y dx over dy plus 1 times of X coordinate of B. So 1 into 0 upon 3 plus 1. So from there X coordinate we can get 4x is equals to 3x minus 3y dx over dy. Now this 3x is coming on this side, so we can write down 4x minus 3x, which is x only, is equals to 3 is equals to minus of 3y dx over dy. So from there we can write down this as dy upon y is equals to minus of 3 times dx upon x, right? So on integration we will get ln of y, natural log of y is equals to minus of 3 natural log of x plus natural log of c, right? So from here we are getting the integration of this equation, this one. So on applying logarithmic property we can write down it also as ln y is equals to, this will be c upon x cube, ln of c upon x cube, right? Now one more thing is given that if f of 1 is equals to 1, f of 1 is equals to 1, so y, you know, y is what here? F of x only. So means f of 1 is equals to 1. So f of 1 means y value is coming 1 when x value is 1. So we are putting here, basically this meaning is also coming, the function fx is satisfying the point 1 comma 1, means y coordinate 1 and x coordinate also 1, right? So we can write down this as ln of 1. So ln of 1 will be what? 0 only, is equals to ln of c upon 1 cube, which is 1 only, right? So it is coming here. So ln of c is equals to 0 means c definitely equals to what here? 1. When c will be 1, then only their logarithmic value will be coming 0, right? As y is equals to c upon x cube, right? Now we can also get this curve equation. The logarithm on both sides, on simplification we can write down y is equals to c upon x cube. So c value directly we are going to put. So we will get y is equals to 1 upon x cube. So y is equals to 1 upon x cube, we are getting the curve equation. Now from here, so from the given solution we can find out all the options which are correct in the given question. So if you will see, first option is saying equation of the curve is x dy by dx minus 3y is equals to 0. So if you will see this one step, so from this one step you can see in cross multiplication x dy by dx is equals to minus of 3y, we are getting here, right? Minus of 3y, so it will comes here, so it will be plus of 3y. So this first option is absolutely wrong here. If you will see the fourth option, so you are getting the correct option, D is correct here. Why? Because you can see already I said x dy upon dx is equals to minus of 3y. This minus of 3y is coming on this side, so plus 3y it is becoming. So D option is correct here. Correct here? So from this data we can say D option is correct here. First option is wrong. Now similarly we can see curve passes through the point 2 comma 1 by 8. C option also we can verify. So y coordinate 1 by 8 when x coordinate is 2, right? That is also being satisfied from this curve equation. If you will put x is equals to 2, so 1 upon 2 cube means 1 upon 8. So y coordinate is coming what here? 1 by 8 only. So C option is also correct here. Correct? And now B option, if you will see, normal at 1 comma 1 is x plus 3y is equals to 4. So normal to this curve at point 1 comma 1 we have to find out. So curve equation already is there. So slope of normal we are needed and point is already given. So slope of normal is what? Reciprocal of slope of tangent to the curve at that point. So slope of tangent is slope of curve. Slope of curve we are getting dy by dx is equals to minus of 3 upon x to the power 4. So slope of tangent, MT I am giving the symbol, that is coming at point 1 comma 1 when we are putting on dy by dx. So minus of 3 upon 1 to the power 4. So minus of 3. So from this data we can easily say that slope of normal will be reciprocal with negative sign. So minus 3 reciprocal with negative sign is 1 by 3. So slope of normal we are getting 1 by 3. Now equation of normal at point 1 comma 1, here only I am indicating you, that will be y minus 1 is equals to slope of normal, that is 1 by 3 into x minus 1. So from here we are getting 3y minus 3 is equals to x minus 1. So from here we will x minus 3y plus 2 is equals to 0. So you can see normal at 1 comma 1 is saying x plus 3y is equals to 4. We are getting this one correct. So normal given at point 1 comma 1 in B option is absolutely wrong. So our correct option is C and D. A and B are wrong. Next question is, if a hyperbola passes through the focus of the ellipse x square by 25 plus y square by 16 is equals to 1 and its transverse and conjugate axes coincide with the major and minor axes of the ellipse and the product of eccentricity is 1, then, so here as you can see this ellipse is having its major axis along with the x-axis and minor axis along with the y-axis, right? So we can write down its eccentricity using the formula b square is equals to a square 1 minus e square. So here you can see b square value is 16 and a square value is 25 into 1 minus of e square. So from there we will get e square is equals to 1 minus 16 by 25, right? So from here eccentricity of the ellipse we are getting here 3 by 5, right? Now since here eccentricity of hyperbola also I have to represent in the solution, so for making a symbolic difference I am giving here suffix eccentricity of ellipse. So here suffix e stands for the ellipse eccentricities, correct now? So ellipse eccentricity we are getting here 3 by 5, right? Now it is given that hyperbola passes through the focus of the ellipse. So focus of ellipse will be what? Denoted by S symbol and the coordinate will be plus minus AE comma 0. So plus minus AE. A coordinate, A value will be from here. Semi major axis is 5 here and semi minor axis is 4 here. So you can say 5 into 3 by 5. So that will be 3 only. So the focus is coming plus minus 3 comma 0 of the ellipse, correct? Now any general equation of the hyperbola in standard form I am writing x square upon a square minus y square upon b square is equals to 1. Since this hyperbola is passing through the point plus minus 3 comma 0, so this point must satisfy this equation. So we are getting 9 by a square minus 0 by b square is equals to 1. So we can say directly this one, 9 by a square is equals to 1. So it means a square is equals to 9. So we are getting a square is equals to 9. So our equation of the hyperbola can be represented as x square by a square which is 9 here. So we can write down x square by 9 minus of y square by b square is equals to 1, right? And now from here we can also see that eccentricity of the hyperbola is given that when it will be product with the eccentricity of ellipse, the result will be 1. Here it is given product of eccentricities of ellipse and hyperbola is 1. So eccentricity of hyperbola into eccentricity of ellipse, product is equals to 1. So eccentricity of ellipse is 3 by 5. So 3 by 5 it will be going here. So in cross multiplication, eccentricity of hyperbola will be coming 5 by 3, right now. Eccentricity of hyperbola is 5 by 3. So again, transverse axis of the hyperbola and conjugate axis of the hyperbola coincides with the major and minor axes of the ellipse. So we can easily write down the relation between transverse conjugate axis and eccentricity as b square is equals to e square, b square is equals to a square e square minus 1. So here h I am giving a symbol for hyperbola ellipse, I am writing here, and here you can see eccentricity of ellipse. So e symbol I had given here. Here also it is written symbolically e. So from here we can get eccentricity already we are having. So b square value we will be getting here. B square is equals to a square. A square already we are having here 9. And eccentricity of the hyperbola is 5 by 3, so it's square 25 by 9 minus 1. So on doing simplification we are getting b square is equals to that will be coming 25 minus 9, 16 by 9 into 9. So b square is equals to 16 we are getting here. So b square value is 16. So putting this b square is equals to 16 in the equation of the hyperbola. So our equation of hyperbola will transform x square by 9 minus y square by 16 is equals to 1. So this is our equation of the hyperbola, right? So from here we can see first option is absolutely correct here. First option is correct, so the equation of the hyperbola is given this one. So which is wrong here? B option is wrong, A option is correct. Focus of the hyperbola, they are asking focus of the hyperbola. So focus of the hyperbola, again it will be denoted by symbolically s only, and that will be also plus minus a e comma 0. So a for the hyperbola is 3 and e for the hyperbola is 5 by 3. So 3 into 5 by 3 is 5 only, and comma 0 it is. So s is equal s coordinates are coming plus minus 5 comma 0. So C option is absolutely correct here. 5 comma 0 is possible focus of the hyperbola, right? And the D option is saying focus of hyperbola is 5 root 3 comma 0, which is absolutely wrong. So our A, C options are correct in this question. Next question is, internal bisector of angle A of triangle ABC meets side BC at D. A line drawn through D perpendicular to AD intersect the side AC at E and the side AB at F. If ABC represents sides of a triangle ABC, then which of the option is correct here? It is also a multiple choice question. So let's solve it. Let's make a triangle here. So this is our triangle. Now let's suppose this is vertex A, this is vertex B, and this is vertex C. And internal angle bisector of angle A, it is internal angle bisector of angle A meeting the BC side at point D. So this is D point, this will be also A by 2, as you can understood, it is angular bisector. Now a line drawn through D point perpendicular to AD intersect side AC at E. So one line is being drawn through D point perpendicular to AD and intersecting AC line at point E. So let's suppose this is the line which has been drawn through D and which is perpendicular to AD and it is intersecting the AC at point E. And let's suppose this is the line through D point which is intersecting the AC line at point E, also intersects the AB line at point F. So here this AB line I am going to extend. So here you can see on extension, this is point F here. So now they are asking which of the option is correct here. As it is given small ABC represent the sides of the triangle ABC. So you can say this is A and this is B, this is C here, right? So from here you can see, let's calculate area of the triangle ABC. So area of triangle ABC will be equals to area of triangle ABD plus area of triangle ACD, right? So area of triangle ABC when we are talking, so it can be written as half of product of side B into C and sine of angle between them. So angle between them is A, so we can write down this is sine of A is equals to area of triangle ABD when we are talking, so it can be written half into AB, which is C, into AD, sine of angle between them, so sine of angle between them is A by 2, plus area of triangle ACD, we can write down similarly half of AC, which is B, into AD, and sine of angle between them, which is A by 2. This it is, right? So this 2 is getting cancelled. So from here we can write down, on simplification, this can be written sine also we can split at half angle. As you can see, sine A by 2 is being involved here. So sine A we can write down as 2 sine A by 2 cos A by 2. So 2 BC sine A by 2 cos A by 2, right? Is equals to, here AD we can take common here, right? AD and sine A by 2 we are taking common, so it is remaining here C plus B into AD sine A by 2. So from there, sine A by 2 is getting cancelled. AD we can get here, AD is equals to 2 BC upon B plus C cos A by 2. So this is the length of AD. So you can see here B option is correct. It is being matched exactly, right? Now similarly, we can find out AE. We can find out this AE length. AE, how can we find out? Let's see here. In the triangle, observe, in triangle ADE, since it is given the line passing through D meeting the AC at point E is perpendicular to AD. It is already given in the data. So this is here 90-degree angle. So in triangle ADE, this is 90 degree, this is A by 2. AE we want to find out, AD already we had find it here. So in this case, you can see this is base, this is perpendicular, this is hypotenuse. So hypotenuse we want to find out. So directly we can write down also AE is equals to, so this will be coming here, base AD into secant of A by 2. Secant of A by 2, right? So now AD is what here? AD is 2 BC upon B plus C into cos A by 2. So from this we are putting the value here. From this we are putting the value here. So AE we are getting AD into AE is equals to, AD value is 2 times BC upon B plus C into cos A by 2, and here already it is secant A by 2, right? So cos and secant both are reciprocal of each other, so they will get cancelled in product. So we are getting here AE is equals to 2 BC upon B plus C. It means what? It means AE is the harmonic mean. So we can say AE is HM or harmonic mean of BC, B and C side, right? So our A option is also correct. C option is given, EF value is equals to 4 times BC upon B plus C sine of A by 2. So in this one, EF, you can see from the figure, EF is nothing but ED plus DF. So we are writing here EF is equals to ED plus DF, right? And now from the figure only we can also observe that the triangle AFE, in this AD is basically angular bisector of angle A, and it is also perpendicular to the side EF right now. So we can say in triangle AFE, AD is the perpendicular bisector of EF also, correct now? Perpendicular bisector of EF also. So since it is a bisector, so we can say ED is equals to DF. ED is equals to DF. So since from figure we are getting ED is equals to DF, so we can easily write down this EF will be equals to ED plus DF. DF is also ED, so we can write down 2 times of ED, right? Now we have to calculate ED value. ED value when we want to calculate, so in the triangle ADE, in triangle ADE, we can observe in triangle ADE, since angle D is 90 degree and we want to find out DE. So DE or ED is perpendicular and AD is base here. So we can use here tangent rule, correct now? So ED is equals to AD tangent of A by 2. So ED is equals to AD tangent of A by 2, right? So from there ED we are getting here AD value already we had calculated. AD value is 2 times BC upon B plus C, 2 times BC upon B plus C into cos of A by 2. Cos of A by 2 we are writing here, right? Cos of A by 2 into tangent of A by 2. Tangent of A by 2 you can write down in the simplified manner, sin A by 2 upon cos A by 2, right? So here cos A by 2 getting cancelled. So ED we are getting as 2 times BC upon B plus C into sin of A by 2, right? So now this is the ED value. So EF, this ED value when we will be putting in EF here, so we can get EF is equals to 2 times of BC upon B plus C into sin of A by 2. So here finally we are getting EF is equals to 4BC upon B plus C sin of A by 2, right now. So this is our correct option. So EF is equals to 4BC upon B plus C sin A by 2 is absolutely correct. Here we had calculated. And now D option, it is saying that the triangle AEF is isosceles. So this concept already we had used to find out EF. And triangle AEF, since it is coming here, AD is angular bisector as I said of angle A, and AD is perpendicular bisector of EF also. It means triangle AEF will be isosceles triangle. So D option is also correct here. Next question is, fx is cubic polynomial which has local maximum at x equals to -1. If f of 2 is equals to 18, f of 1 is equals to -1, and f dash x has local minima at x equals to 0, then which of the following options are correct? So it is also multiple choice question. Let's solve it. According to given question, fx is cubic polynomial which has local maximum at x equals to -1. It means function fx first derivative at -1 necessarily should be 0. Similarly, another information is given, f of 2 is equals to 18 and f of 1 is equals to -1, and also it is saying that f dash x has local minima at x equals to 0. Means f dash x first derivative means we can say f double dash x at point 0 should be 0 right now. So f double dash of 0 is equals to 0. So since fx is a cubic polynomial, so second derivative will be coming first degree equation in x right now. So from here second derivative is becoming 0. It means f double dash x necessarily should be linear equation, as well as it doesn't have any kind of constant. means we can say f double dash x can be of lambda x kind of equation. Lambda is any parameter here, I am assuming, right? Now from here we can find out f dash x by doing integration on both sides. We can write down f dash of x is equals to lambda x square by 2 plus integrating constant c, right? And now from this only we can also find out f of x. So again one more time I am going to integrate it. So we are getting f of x is equals to lambda x cube by 6 plus cx plus integrating constant d, right? So we are getting basically these two equations, and now this data we will put here and we will get the value of lambda, c and d. From there we can opt the correct options about the function, right? So let's solve it. Since it is given that first derivative at -1 is 0, so we by putting f dash of -1 is equals to 0, this information in this equation, so we are getting here 0 is equals to lambda into -1 square, so 1 only, so lambda by 2 plus c. So from there we are getting lambda is equals to minus of 2c, right? Let's suppose this is one of the equation here. Similarly, one more thing is there, f of 2 is equals to 18. So by putting this data in this equation, so we are getting here 18 is equals to 2 cube 8, so 8 lambda by 6 plus 2c plus d, right? Let's suppose this is our equation number 1. And another data is f of 1 is equals to -1. F of 1 is equals to -1. So here we are putting here x is equals to 1. So we are getting here -1 on this side is equals to lambda by 6 plus c plus d, right? So from here, let's suppose this is our equation number 2. Now we are going to just subtract second equation from first equation. So we are getting here, so just change the our sign of this second equation here. So on subtraction, you know, plus, this is minus, this is minus, this is minus. So negative d, positive d is getting cancelled in the subtraction part. So we are getting here 18 plus 1 is 19 on the left side is equals to 8 lambda by 6 minus lambda by 6, so that is 7 lambda by 6. And this data is 2c minus c, so plus of c it is. So let's suppose this is our new information that we are getting, new equation it is in term of lambda and c, right? So from this equation and this equation we can easily get the lambda and c value also. So I am just going to put here lambda is equals to minus 2c in this equation. So we will get here 19 is equals to minus of 2c. So you know, minus of 2c you are putting here, so this 2 will be cancelling this 6, so 3 will be coming here. So minus of 7 by 3c plus c. So on simplification we are getting 19, and this is minus of 4c by 3. So from there we are getting 57 is equals to minus 4c. So we can say minus 57 by 4 is equals to c value. So we have the c value. Now we have c, so we can easily write down the lambda value also by putting this c value in this equation. So we are getting here lambda is equals to 57 by 2, that is here. And after getting lambda and c value, by putting in any one of the equation 1 or 2, we can get the d value also. So after getting d, exactly what is fx we can easily find out here. So I am just going to simply put this lambda and c value in the equation number 2. So we are getting here minus 1 is equals to lambda value is 57 by 2 by 6. So that is 57 by 12, and that is minus 57 by 4, and this d is as it is here, right? So by simplification we can easily write down here. You can see this data can be written as minus 38 by 4 plus d. Further on simplifying, we are getting here d is equals to 38 by 4 minus 1. So from there d is equals to 34 by 4, right? So we are having now d lambda and c all the values. So by putting this d lambda c value in this equation, we can get what was actual fx in this given situation, right? So by putting f of x, we are getting a lambda. Lambda is 57 by 2. So 57 by 12 x cube, and this is here c value is minus 57 by 4. So we are writing a minus 57 by 4 x, and this d value is 34 by 4. So we are writing a 34 by 4, right? So that is our fx here, right? So further we can write down this data in a simplified manner as f of x is equals to 1 by 4 we are taking common. So it is here 19 x cube minus 57 plus 34. So this is our fx, right? This is our fx. Now let's do discussion about the options, correct? So they are asking the distance between minus 1 comma 2 and a comma f of a, where a is the point of local minimum is 2 root 5. Okay, so a is a point of local minima of fx, right? Local minima of fx. So let's find out what are the points of local maxima and local minima of fx. So I'm just going to change this slide. Fx we are getting as 1 by 4 into 19x cube minus 57x plus 34, right? So for maxima minima, let's find out its derivative. F dash of x is equals to 1 by 4, that is 57x square minus 57. So from there you can see 57, we can take easily common here, 57 by 4 into x square minus 1 it is coming, no? So x minus 1 into x plus 1 we can write down. So from there we are getting critical points, those are minus 1 comma 1. So just make a real number line, and when we are putting a minus 1 and here 1, so we can see on drawing the wavy curve, we can see that at x equals to minus 1 we are getting local max, and at x equals to 1 we are getting local min, right? Now so they are asking that distance between minus 1 comma 2, one of the point is what here, minus 1 comma 2 to a point which is a comma f of a, where a is point of local minima. Point of local minima, what we are getting here, point of local minima is 1 here. So that is 1, and x coordinate 1. So what about y coordinate? Y coordinate is f of a. So simply just take here y coordinate. So by putting x equals to 1 in this equation, minus 1. So that is our another point q, you can say. Now distance between p and q. Distance between p and q we can see here, that is coming here minus 1 minus of 1 whole square. So that is minus 2 square, right? Now so let's write down, and here 2 minus of minus 1, so 2 plus of 1 whole square, right? So we are getting here PQ, distance between PQ is basically, this is here 4 and that is here 9, so that is root 13, right? And that is root 13. So distance between minus 1 comma 2 and a comma fa is root 13. So it is saying here 2 root 5, so a option is absolutely wrong, right? And next it is saying B option, that fx is increasing for all x belongs to close interval 1 to 2 root 5. So 1 to 2 root 5, here somewhere 2 root 5. So after 1 it is always increasing, you can see here, correct? Na? So second option is correct here. Second option is correct. Why? Because 1 to infinity it is increasing here, and minus 1 to 1 it is decreasing, and minus infinity to minus 1, it is again increasing here, you can see from this wavy curve. So from there we can say 1 to 2 root 5 in closed interval, it is increasing. That is correct. Next, C option, fx as local minima at x equals to 1. Yes, of course, that is correct. Here we are getting local minima at x equals to minus 1, right now. So that is absolutely correct. The value of f of 0 is equals to 5. So f of 0 if you are putting here, so f of 0 is equals to, you can see this is 0, this is 0, this is 35 by 4, right now. 34 by 4, sorry, 34 by 4, it is coming here, right? So it is saying 5, so that is absolutely wrong. So our correct options are B and C only. Next question is, a vector parallel to the line of intersection of P1 and P2 through origin. P1 is parallel to the vector 2j cap plus 3k cap and 4j cap minus 3k cap, and P2 is parallel to j cap minus k cap and 3i cap plus 3j cap. Then the angle between vectors A and 2i cap plus j cap minus 2k cap is. So let's solve it. Since the vector A is parallel to the line of intersection of plane P1 and P2, where P1 plane is parallel to vector this and this. So if P1 is parallel to these two vectors, so P1 plane normal will be perpendicular to these two vectors, right? So normal of P1 I am indicating by N1 vector. So that will be nothing but cross product of these two vectors, 2j cap plus 3k cap, cross product of 4j minus 3k cap, right? And similarly, P2 is parallel to this vector and this vector. So P2 plane normal will be perpendicular to these two vectors. So let's suppose P2 plane normal I am saying by N2 vector, right now. So that will be cross product of j minus k cap with 3i cap plus 3j cap, right? So now from here we can see the P1, P2, both planes normal we are getting here. Now it is given that A be a vector parallel to the line of intersection of plane P1 and P2. So since A vector is parallel to the line of intersection of P1 and P2 now, so it means A vector will be along the vector which is perpendicular to the normal of plane P1 and P2. So we can say A vector will be along the perpendicular vector to the normal of N1 and N2. So that will be nothing but N1 cross N2 only, right? So we can get from here, that is here 2i cap, 2j cap plus 3k cap, cross product with 4j cap minus 3k cap with N2, that is j cap minus k cap with 3i cap plus 3j cap, right? So this is our A vector. Now it is also given that the angle between A and this vector is what they are asking. So let's simplify first of all what is A vector. So A vector on simplification, when we will simplify, it's a simple data, either we can use the determinant method or we can directly also we can do here cross product, we know very well. So on simplification it is coming as 54 j cap minus of k cap. Now angle between A and 2i cap plus j cap minus 2k cap we can easily find out using formula cos theta is equals to, since this A vector will be perpendicular to the normal of normal of P1 plane and P2 plane. So here we can get here by doing dot product of this vector and this vector. So we are getting a plus minus of 54 j cap minus k cap with 2i cap plus j cap minus 2k cap upon their individual magnitudes. So 54 j minus k cap and this one's magnitude 2i cap plus j cap minus 2k cap, right? So now from here cos theta is equals to plus minus, this will be coming what here, just you can see here 54 here as it is here. Now j dot I is 0, j dot j is 1 here, so that is 1 here. J dot k is 0 and similarly k dot I is also 0, k dot j is also 0 and k dot k is 1, so minus 1 into minus 2 is plus 2, so that it is. And now from here on doing this simplification, so 54 and then magnitude of j cap minus k cap is root 2 and this one's magnitude is coming root over 2 square plus 1 square plus of minus 2 whole square, so that is here nothing but 9 root over, so that is here 3 only, so we are writing here root over 9 or we can say 3 also. So this data I am writing exactly 3, so this 3 and this 2 plus 1 which is also 3, this is getting cancelled here, and this 54 is also getting cancelled, so we are getting a cos theta is equals to plus minus of 1 by root 2. So cos theta is equals to plus minus of 1 by root 2. So from these options we can see plus 1 by root 2 if we are considering, so B option pi by 4 is absolutely correct. Similarly minus 1 by root 2 if we are seeing here, so D option which is 3 pi by 4 is also correct here. So B and D is correct option for this, so it is also a multiple. Next question is fx is equals to given function and gx is 0 to x f of t dt, x belongs closed interval 1 to 3, then gx as. So let's solve it. So since gx is 0 to x integration of f of t and gx local maxima and local minima about which the discussion is there in the option. So for local maxima, local minima of gx we have to find out g dash x. So let's do differentiation of gx on both sides. So on left side it will become g dash x and on right side we will apply Newton's Leibniz formula for differentiation. So we will get here f of x right now. So we are getting f of x, this one. Now from here if you will see fx already is written here, so now from here only we can consider here, since g dash x will be equals to 0 on whichever point, on that point only local maxima or local minima will occur, right? So g dash x means f of x only, that should be equals to 0. So if we will check here, so f of x in between 0 to 1 is e to the power x. E to the power x means what? Exponential function it is, so it is always greater than 0. So in 0 to 1 in this interval, this e to the power x cannot be equals to 0, right? This cannot be equals to 0. So from there we are getting that in 0 to 1 there is no possibility of local maxima or local minima, right? Now in between 1 to 2, open interval 1 to close interval 2 when we are seeing, so fx is this, now fx must be 0. So in the interval we are writing x greater than 1 and less than or equals to 2. So we are putting in this case fx equals to 0 means 2 minus e to the power x minus 1 must be equals to 0 in this case, right now. So on simplification we are getting 2 is equals to e to the power x minus 1. So further on simplification we will get x minus 1 is equals to log base e of 2. So we will get from here x equals to 1 plus log base e of 2, right now. So we are getting one of the value of x in 1 to 2 at which f of x is becoming 0 means g dash x is 0. Also f of x is equals to 0 in between 2 to 3. In between when x is in between 2 to 3, open interval 2 to close interval 3, fx is x minus e. So x minus e equals to 0. From there we are getting x equals to e. X equals to e we are getting here, right? So these are the 2 points where fx is equals to 0 means g dash of x is equals to 0. So on these 2 points there is a chance of local maxima or local minima. So now for finding out on whichever critical point the function gx is having local maxima or local minima, let's find out g double dash x, right? G double dash x means what here? G dash x is fx, so g double dash x is f dash of x. This equation again we had differentiated with respect to x. So now you observe this one. So here also similar manner in between 0 to 1 we are differentiating here. So what we are getting here? E to the power x differentiation we are getting, that is coming here e to the power x only. And similarly in between 1 to 2 we are getting here differentiation minus of e to the power x minus 1, right? And now x is in between 2 open interval to close interval 3, so we are getting here 1, right? Now we are getting here 1. So you can see in the interval 1 to 2, open interval 1 to close interval 2, we are getting e to the power x minus 1. Always this quantity is exponential, so it is positive. Exponential is always positive, so this is positive, but this negative sign will make this quantity always negative. So in this entire interval 1 open interval to close interval 2, second derivative of g is coming negative, and g dash x in this interval at 0.1 plus log base e of 2 is becoming 0. Means on this critical point which lies in this interval, second derivative is negative. So on this critical point, fx have local maxima, right? Fx will have local maxima. So on this point, local maxima we are getting. Local maxima at x equals to 1 plus ln 2, that is correct here. Let's verify local for local minima. For local minima at x equals to e, x equals to e is coming in the interval 2 to 3. In this case, g double dash x is 1 here, which is positive only. So second derivative is positive on any critical point. So on that critical point, the function will must have local minima. So on this one, function must have local minima, right? Now, so here local minima and here local maxima. So A option is absolutely correct here, right? A option is absolutely correct here. Now from here, I am just indicating you, here it is, local minima it is coming here, right? And now when we are, and now second option is local maxima at x equals to 1 and local minima at x equals to 2 of fx. That data is missing, so please correct the question. That is that they are asking about fx. And C and D option are also wrong here. No local maxima of gx, that should be the correct option was this. And D is local minima of fx, right? So let's do discussion about the second option. So local maxima at x equals to 1 and local minima at x equals to 2 of fx. So fx local maxima, local minima they are saying. So let's find out so second option, let's check here, local maxima at x equals to 1 and local minima at x equals to 2. So now you can see f of 1 from left side or value of the function at 1 means LHL or value of the function at 1 is coming E only. So LHL and value of function is E, and at the same time RHL if you are seeing from right side at 1 functional value if you are checking here, so that is coming 2 minus e to the power 1 minus 1. So e to the power 1 minus 1 means e to the power 0, that is 1 only. So 2 minus 1 is 1 only. So we are getting here LHL at 1E and RHL at 1 only, correct now? So LHL and RHL both are not equal, so function is discontinuous. And also you can see its graph also in 0 to 1 functions derivative is coming e to the power x, which is a positive in 0 to 1, increasing, and also e to the power x graph also we are knowing that is a very standard graph, e to the power x it is, right? So here it is given here close interval 0 to close interval 1. So here let's suppose that is 1 here, close interval I am taking, so dark circle here, that value is E only, right? That value is E only. And in 1 to 2 if we will see its graph, so graph is decreasing since in 1 to 2 its derivative is coming negative here, so decreasing it is, and functional value at 1 from right side we are observing it is coming 1 only. So its graph will be, since it is open interval, so light circle, and it is a decreasing here. So add up to 2 it is going here, so that is you can see here 2 means here it is coming here at the place of x functional value when we are observing. So 2 minus 1 which is 1 only, so 2 minus E only. So 2 minus E means it is negative. So graph will be somewhat like this, roughly I am just drawing here. So that is here up to 2, right? So this kind of graph it is coming here. So you can see the function is discontinuous at x equals to 1, but here it is coming local maxima, right? Local maxima. And now if you will see, so in between 2 to 3, function's derivative is positive here. So it means function derivative positive means function is increasing, and LHL and value of function at 2, if we are checking here, so that is coming here 2 minus e to the power 2 minus 1, so that is 2 minus e only. So 2 minus e only it is coming here, right? 2 minus e, that is 2 minus e that we are getting here, right? And in this case, if we are checking here RHL f of 2 from right side, so we are getting here 2 minus e, right? Now we are getting 2 minus e. So it is continuous, it is coming here at point 2. And now if you will see, in 2 to 3, function derivative positive, so increasing kind of structure will be there. So here clearly you can see derivative is negative and then positive. So at point 2, local minima will be coming here, local minima. So in this situation, second option is also correct here. Second option is also correct. And now for C, they are saying no local maxima, no local maxima of Gx. For Gx already we are getting one local maxima, one local minima, so C is absolutely wrong. And about D, no local minima for Fx, so that is also wrong here. For Fx in second option already we are getting one local minima, so D option is also wrong. So